Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tactics, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. I've been investigating a lot of ghost stories recently, uploading a lot of ghost stories, interested in the truth of ghost stories. And geez, these days we have so many security cameras around, we got so many, everything around. We should be able to pick up these ghost stories. We have body cam, police body cam. You can say what you want about security video. There's a lot of ways that can go wrong. We're not even getting into that. Police body cam is very difficult to mess with, and we can easily find information on it because police body cam has the date and the location and all that. And I got all of the AI to look this stuff up, which I kind of wish I didn't today because I looked up a story. Sorry. Yeah. So usually we get like haunted houses around here and stuff. You hear stories. I still can't get information that I need to from the 70s about debates that I'm having about domestic violence with people in the field. I'm trying to let people know that men are actually the victims of domestic violence more than. We're not getting into that. What I'm saying is, it's really hard to get accurate information about horrible things that are unspeakable things that have happened in the past. Sorry, they get a lot more difficult to talk about when you become a parent. I almost lost my daughter early on. Sorry, if it wasn't for the Canadian healthcare system, if it wasn't for Ronald House, I wouldn't have anything. I have so much right now. Anyways, these police body cams, like, to make a ghost story, you always gotta have something really crazy happen, right? And usually in that ghost story, you hear little clippings of what happened. You don't get the police report. You don't get the kid's last words. You don't get. But I have that now. I have the availability to. So it starts with me finding out. Oh, geez, you know what? I'm sorry, give me a sec. Sorry about that. Anyways, I went down a rabbit hole about I've been down a rabbit hole about domestic violence, okay? So I'm going down a rabbit hole about ghosts now, based off of police video, because you can't fake that stuff. And interesting stuff legitimately comes up. Sorry, I got to avoid kids and domestic violence, and I'll be okay. I'll never get used to it. I think if I get used to it, if I don't cry, I won't be a human. But you gotta face those demons. Let's not talk about that. Anyways, police video. There was a police video about canine units, and canine unit was called to a house involved in the domestic violence issue. Basically, family wasn't. A friend didn't hear from the family when she was expecting to hear. I still need to look more into exactly why. I have the availability to find that information out. Every little question. I don't have to search archives and look all this stuff up. I can just ask AI these days and it gives it to me, which is horrifying because I asked it a question I shouldn't have, which is going to haunt me for a long time. If you're a parent, swipe. This one's really rough. So it's a canine unit that goes into a house. They're worried domestic violence. But the interesting thing here is that usually they don't send dogs for this stuff. Why did they send a canine unit? For usually they send like 2 or 3 cops, not a canine unit. So anyways, and usually the cops don't just go into the house, but this is all about footage that I've seen about the cops checking out this house. Later on, I would find out I knew a lot more about this house, and this whole story has haunted me for a long damn time, ever since I started hearing about it. The police officers walk in and they swear they hear something. They swear they hear something on the first floor. They search the whole place, and they mention that they hear something. It sounds like there's a family here. Because there's supposed to be a family. There's supposed to be a happy family. Pregnant mom, 2 girls, just home, doing their thing. The kids were supposed to be asleep. They cleared the house. They didn't find anything. They left. The deed had already been done. Dad had. This is your last chance. Mom would come home. Dad didn't want her anymore. Dad wanted to wipe this. He wanted to be with a new woman that he'd been courting, he'd been seeing through work. Younger woman, I'm pretty sure. And he got this idea that he could just scrub his life clean. I'm sorry. He dispatched his wife. His kids woke up. That motherfucker could have taken his kids first. They died in terror. This is your last chance, parents. This is the part that haunts me. What haunts him? What haunts that motherfucker is his daughter's last words. Daddy, no. Hell ain't hot enough. And what really terrifies me is that as I'm learning about domestic violence and how often parents will just take out their family. This kind of stuff has happened in my area. So you know the movie The Grudge? You know, where mom just ends the family? That's happened in my area. I can't find the information about it, though I search. I know that the officer that got the report was Ron Falconer. It was sometime in the 70s. It was Pike Lake, and a woman had drowned her kids. She drives them into town and says, Ron, I think I've done something wrong. I believe it was at a party. I can't find any information about this. Why does it matter? Because of the women that I date are social workers and therapists often. And they're the type of people that tell me that all white men are colonialists and that I have, gotten a better life because I'm white and this, that. And you see where I'm going with this stuff. But what really haunts me about this video is it's haunted me for a long time. Because I remember hearing a story about a person that took his wife and family and murdered them and just took them out in an oil field and just left them there. And he wanted to start a new life. I'm sorry, I'm screaming. Who does that? I'm screaming on the inside. Who does that? Who does that? What universe are you in? So you get the ego, you get the superego, you get the id when it comes to therapy. A lot of therapists know that at the end of the day, it's the id. And that there are boxes you have to check off. And every therapist, social worker that I date, they know that this is a possibility. This happens. This kind of stuff happens more than 50 times a year in the United States alone. But I wasn't, of course I was going to hear it attached to a ghost story, right? Of course I was going to hear it attached to a ghost story. I've never been this connected to a ghost story. I can ask my AI any, and they will give me, you know what, I'm going to find out. I want to find out. The woman he cheated with, did she tell him to? I don't know. One sec. So there's no proof that she actually said, hey, you should do this. Apparently she cooperated early on. But you know what's really haunting about this whole frickin' experience? We're in the age of information, digital information. We're getting information that we never knew before. I know people who have grown up that have been at a lack of information and don't know basic body sexuality. There are people who have had problems in the last 20 years within North America who have gone into reproductive places, and the reproductive people who work there, I'll just say it this way. I know people who work there that flat out have told me the first question they always ask is, do you know where, not her words, do you know the penis goes in the vagina? Because she's literally had people who think that the penis goes into the belly button. What I'm saying is, now that we're at a place where true information is available, the hauntings are becoming fourth dimensional to me. Like I said, I remember hearing about this particular case and how it stuck with me. This one stuck with me. But what really haunts me is finding out that the dogs were aware of it. In a haunting video I found years later, the policeman could hear. But what really gets me, I'm going to say this quick so maybe I can get away with it, is that it almost seems like within the fifth dimension, in a universe that's really close to ours, and what should be happening in that universe right there is there should be a happy family there, just experiencing a daily life with kids watching TV. Probably no iPads then. Watching TV with their mom. Maybe a pet, maybe a cat. I think that's what they were hearing, what they should have been hearing. I think that's what the spirits were doing. Maybe they were like, you know what, guys? Let's just have one victory lap now that Dad can't hurt us anymore. I don't like saying that stuff because I sound like the exact same thing that the women I date say that men are like. And I want to say that monster isn't real. That motherfucking monster's haunting me today. And I found him. I found that monster. A monster that we are all responsible as men to try to keep down and to end if we find out there. We as men have friends. We're supposed to communicate with them. If we're not in a group where we have a leader, like a father, pastor, whatever you talk to, as men, it is our civic responsibility to talk to our friends and check their ideas if they get way out of hand. Yes, it's our public response, it's our civic responsibility to check our brothers if they have bad ideas, just as it is for women. Women are having a really hard time with this. They are not checking, but guys, we are not checking either. This happens over 50 times a year. Family, just not for the same reasons, but mom or dad losing it, and we don't hear about these things, but we have the ability here. And I'm getting haunted in the fifth dimension by AI now. I'm going to get over this. Am I going to get stronger? No, if I hear about a case like this, I'm going to cry like a baby. But when I hear things like this, I think, just for a day, just for a moment, maybe if the Christian Judeo God is right, I won't make it into heaven, but maybe I'll get to go to hell with a heart so full of anger and contempt for this motherfucker that the devil will give me a pitchfork. And I'll be like, I don't mind burning. You just give me a pitchfork and I'll make sure that son of a bitch burns harder than anyone else here. I will personally make sure. I'm not even going to say that guy's name. He doesn't deserve a grave. He doesn't deserve a name. He deserves a pitchfork. Fortunately, he wasn't given the death sentence. He's left to rot in jail. The AI said there's nothing about him being checked, being hurt, which is very unfortunate. I mean, I thought abusers got hurt in prison. I hope the people who are in his gang know that his child's last words to him were, "Daddy, no." If I become a demon, I'm just messing around now. I'm just messing around. I'm coming from the heart. When I hear about stuff like this, I kind of have a desire to become a bit of a demon. To hunt down the monsters that are under children's bed. And if I was to become a demon, they would call me, "Daddy, no." And Daddy, no. Make sure that mommies and all our babies be in a good, safe place in any dimension. That's what we need to do, folks. Anyways, that's it from me. Sorry to be all blubbery. Sorry to be all cry. Sorry, not sorry. Hey, if I don't get to cry about something like this, am I human? Legitimately? Have a good one, folks. Legitimately take care of each other. We might be all we got.